Hi guys, thanks for joining Alana today. We're doing Moitié 10-day lashes, and today we're going to be putting light glam on our model, and it's actually, we've already done her left eye, and we're going to be adding to her right eye, and we're going to be doing this with you, and we're showing you how to do it today with your basic products using an applicator, bond, and sealant. So we don't have the primer today. The main difference between the primer is that it comes in a bottle looking like the sealant, and it is like your bond, but it has a micro applicator brush like this one, and so it just makes application just slightly easier for those who maybe have an issue using a brush like this to apply a mascara type product using a brush. That might be unfamiliar to you, but give it a try and see how it is. It shouldn't be so hard. So today, if I'm applying it to somebody else, I'm going to ask them to keep their eye at 3/4 looking down, because I'm applying to the underside of the eye. In preparation, before I do that, I'm going to make sure that using my box, I have selected the lashes that I'm going to be using. In her case, I've already selected the lashes. I know I've only used 3 lashes on her lid, because she has a smaller almond eye, beautiful almond eye. She has slight hooded lid, and so we want to make sure that we're using all of the advantages that we can to accentuate the beautiful eyes that she has. So what we've done is we've taken the small taper from the inside, we've left out the 2 middles, and we've taken the 2 longer outsides. So that's what we'll be doing. For those of you who have done this before and have used these boxes before, you'll notice that this is actually new and that the adhesive is on the round rather than on the lashes. So there's no more pulling off the sticky adhesive. Let's get going. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the bond, again, at that 3/4 looking down, just slightly higher. I'm going to apply under her eye here, as though it were mascara, to the underside of her lashes. If we were applying over her lashes, we would be painting it on the top of her lashes. So the reason why we're putting it under her lashes is because for this model, she prefers to have her lashes underneath, as she has quite straight lashes, and with a hooded lid, it helps to hold those lashes nicely curled, as well as helps with her reading and holding the eye up and more open looking. There are 2 ways when we're doing preparation with the bond for the eye. As you can see, there's either applying it to the center round here, or you can just paint it directly on the strip at where the lashes are adhered to. Some people start at the center, some people start at the end. What I always recommend for your first time is making sure you start at the place that you're most comfortable at and figuring out with your hands where your reach is going to be easiest. The reason why I'm mentioning it on this eye is, for me, this eye happens to be my weakness. It happens to be the hardest for me. When you're doing your inner corners, you might want to come with your hand across over, so you can cross your arms in front of you or cross over, and I can show you an example. But when you're applying it on somebody else, it's obviously can be easier or it can be more difficult. The second way, when you're applying that bead of bond to the lash, is actually just painting it onto, like I said, where they're tied together. These are all hand-tied, beautiful featherweight lashes. They're all knotted so beautifully together. We've put it on the inside of that curve. If we were putting it on top, we would have put it underneath so that we would have had it coming from the other side. We want to make sure that we have no adhesive on their hair, because as you can see, if your clampers are open and your lash is sticking, you're not going to be able to release it. So one of my tricks before we get going is that we're going to clean our clampers. My trick is that you use a bowl of alcohol, you put your clampers in the alcohol, just some straight isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol that you have at home. You use a simple white cloth, take that, give it a pull, and make sure that you get any sort of stickiness that's on there off so that you won't have a problem when you're doing that. All right, so let's get back to it. So you want to make sure that you have it clamped so that your arm is coming at it at the best angle possible. You don't want to attach to the water line, just slightly more open, and that you're going to give it a swipe, and a stick. And because I did take my time there for just a second, I'm going to have to apply just a little bit more bond on there, and that's okay. I really don't stress out about anything when I'm doing this because this is self-care and me time. All right, so to the outer edge, again, swipe, and staying away from the water line. Oop. And try not to blink when you're applying them, and I'll try not to drop the lashes when I'm applying them. But if you could just keep your eye right there, don't blink while I'm applying it, it will just stick, and then release, and there it is, the first lash. So when you've got it on there, you want to give it a little tap to make sure that it's lined up correctly, and it's exactly where you want your first one to be, not on the water line. And then you tap and tap, and it gives you a little bit of time to just make sure that it is properly aligned. And this one, I'm not happy with the positioning, so you have a little bit of playtime. And then you just tap, and that is a perfect placement right above the water line there. Now, generally, the next step would be to clamp. Because I'm going to try and go quickly today, I'm going to set all of these in clamp after so I don't have to clean between each lash. So let's get going to the next one. I'm going to apply my bond to the inside bead along that knotted edge. And then we're going to give it a swipe and a swipe. And here we go. So you want to get it lined up right beside that other one so there's no gap. And just get it in there and give it that tap. Make sure that it's in the right place. And once it's right in the right place, give it a tap. And if you're at home, you could give it a clamp, then wash it. Or, like me, if you're trying to go fast, you can line them up, get them into place, and then continue to the next one, and then give the clamp all at the same time. Add that bead of glue or bond. And then again, like I said, this one, I cross my hand over and come from the other side. So just keep where you are and put it there, and then give it a tap. So now that we have those lashes in place, we can see that actually this eye for Randy is a little bit bigger than the other. And I have actually something similar. I'm going to take this off, I'm going to save it, and I'm going to actually put another lash in before I continue. When I first started wearing 10-day lashes, I actually used the whole box. I was determined to get them all on my eyes. I didn't realize, that you could customize these to your eyes, and that's why they were also in 5 segments, because we all have different eye shapes. So, collision, that we could, customize them because our eyes are different, and not just from each other, but sometimes even on our own faces. And so, we can see now, let's get a little bit closer here, that actually, sometimes when you use a different lash unit, it can sometimes look more the same than using 2 of the same lashes on different eyes. And that can be just the right thing that you might need. So we can make the decision now, does she need another one to add to it, or are we done? Well, I think that we should actually add that last piece to go for the fourth one, because that eye is still slightly larger than the one, and this last little taper piece can definitely fit into that little spot. And if she doesn't like it, we can always take it off, because the bond is actually not fully activated until we clamp it down. So that's actually what starts the activation of the bond. Then the next thing that we do after the clamping is the sealing. When we seal it, that's when these lashes are going to stay on for your 10 days. So if I was doing it on myself, you could come this way, or like I showed you before, my preference is to come across from the other direction. And that's what I'm gonna do. I am coming across here, and we're just gonna, sometimes you might wanna hold your skin, especially if you have a little bit of a hooded lid, place that right where it is. And if your clampers have gotten slightly sticky, you wanna just place it there, give it that tap. And how beautiful are these that they match now? And can you believe that there's 4 on one eye, 3 on the other, and they look perfectly symmetrical? And so now we have to move on to step 2. So on this side, we're gonna come across, and for you, when you're doing it yourself, you can come across and make sure that you clamp the inside. I'm gonna give this one the tap because I didn't do the tap yet. Randy was so excited to show it to you. So you're gonna come across, and if this was your arm, these are perfectly curved. So you're gonna clamp and clamp and clamp across, and then you can come from the other side here, and you can clamp as well, clamp and clamp, and you definitely wanna make sure that your corners are clamped. If you're clamping and it starts to get a little bit stuck, always roll backwards, don't just tug. These are your eyelashes. You only have the ones you have until they grow back. And what's so fabulous about this brand is that they actually really are damage free for your eyelashes, and they let your eyelashes grow.
I love that they're actually PETA friendly, that they're vegan, ecologically certified, dermatologically certified, ophthalmologically certified. To me, that's very important in choosing a product. I'm not great at doing this, and I'm really excited about the potential of being able to do this and not putting magnets next to my eyes or other things. I care, and I'm sure that you do too.
All right, so the final step is we're gonna put the sealant on. So when you get the sealant, your wand is going to be straight. My trick is that I actually bend it, much like a golf club or a hockey stick, depending on what you're familiar with. And so when I do this, that way you can actually come at the bottom and give it its taps into the correct places here and there, and then you can look down, and then I like to get in there and have it soak through. If you get any on your skin, you'll wipe that after, but this is what takes away the tackiness. You'll know you have enough sealant when you don't have any tackiness. So like I said, if you get any on the skin, you just want to wipe that away, just like any glue that you might have gotten while you're doing this, because during it, it's very easy to clean away, and afterwards, it'll just look like dried glue, whether it's the black bond that doesn't actually adhere. I don't want to block the view of showing you guys what's happening here, but you see how easily those release when I clamp. And if I come from this side here, they just release, release, release. And that's because the sealant has completely sealed those. And so there's no more tacky bond at all. So thank you guys for watching today. If you want to have other tips and tricks on how to fluff those lashes the morning after, we don't recommend that you fluff them up with your spoolie the same day you do them. Definitely, if you're going to try and separate them or do anything else, make sure that you always clamp before you do that, clamp morning and light night to get the longest wear out of them. And check out my videos on how to get the longest wear out of your lashes. And check out my other videos. And I have nail videos.